Okay, wonderful.
Welcome everyone, welcome back from the break. Hopefully you managed to do some good networking in the lounges and get round the sponsor exhibition booths. This is the last of our life lessons from engineering segments. They've all been brilliant so far, no pressure Liz and Farai. I'm sure yours will also be brilliant. So we've got Farai Moshita and Liz Johnson, who are both from one of our amazing sponsors, CBRE. I think Farai is going to go first. She is an international project engineer, and then Liz is going to follow. Liz is an account director. And then at the end, as usual, guys, if you pop your questions in the chat, I'll field the questions to Liz and Farai. Just to mention that Farai's camera is not working, everyone. So unfortunately, we can't see Farai, but we can see her. So Farai, I think you're going to go first, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I'm going to go first. I'm going to take over and start presenting. But I just want to say to Susan and everyone else at WES, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to present and talk about my brief career journey so far. So thank you.
Oh, great to have you.
Sorry, just bear with me 1 second. There we go. Yeah, hopefully everyone can see my screen. So my name is Farai Moshita, and a brief background about myself. I am a chartered mechanical engineer, and I currently work with CBRE, and my job title is International Project Manager. So a bit of a career journey for me. So yeah, there's these two images, why engineering? You've got E equals MC squared and the Discovery Channel, and I'm going to explain to you where the link is for these two. So academically, I've always been good at science subjects, maths, physics, and chemistry. And when it came to deciding what I wanted to do around GCSE time, A-levels, university, I wasn't sure until I watched How It's Made on Discovery Channel. And they had so many different topics, from how to make donuts, how to make plastic bottles, how to make belts, and talking about structures and how tall buildings can withstand earthquakes. And that really intrigued me. And I thought, okay, so what subjects can I use to be able to follow all these journeys? And yeah, it turned out you needed maths and physics. And yeah, that is what grabbed my attention, and I applied at University of Brighton to do my BEng, and a few years later I went to Loughborough University to do my master's in building services engineering. So throughout my studies and career, I have met opportunities and challenges, but the biggest challenge I would probably say I faced was the 2009 global recession, because I graduated in 2009, and trying to find a graduate role during that time was very, very difficult. And at times, I would probably say it was disheartening, because I was doing about 100 job applications a day and not getting responses. And when I did get them, it was unfortunately at this time. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I should try something else. However, I stuck through, and I had a passion for working in engineering and wanting to do design. So I pushed through, and I've got my first engineering related job at the end of 2011. And I have to say, since then, things have been going really, really well in my career, so many opportunities. And the first and the biggest opportunity that came through to me was the graduate role, which I got with an engineering consultancy firm, Hewson Moran. And I took this role at the age of 28, which for most people, that's when they're actually completing their grad roles for the 4 years. But I took this role because I just knew that there were going to be so many opportunities for me taking this role. And those opportunities meant really me being able to have the training that I needed, the development skills that I needed to be able to become the engineer that I am today. So from this grad role, I was able to work on various projects from commercial, education, hospital, and I had a really, really great team, which I spent 6 months on site, as you can see on these two pictures, where I was working with the facility management team and resident engineers to really understand the assets and how they work in buildings, as well as doing witness and commissioning. So this grad role was the biggest opportunity of my life. And yeah, I went on to do my master's and became chartered at the back of me accepting this grad opportunity. And from then I have navigated my career from doing design engineering to project management. I've also had the opportunity to work in the Middle East and on some projects in Sub-Saharan Africa. And yeah, so my grad role is the biggest opportunity for me because it's opened so many doors for me in terms of me being chartered, networking and meeting different people in the industry, being able to move and work in Dubai for almost 2 years. So those were the opportunities that I've really grabbed and appreciative of them. So the theme for this year is serving society and global challenges. So I'm going to break this part into two parts. One is serving, one is global challenges. And in terms of serving society, as engineers, I feel our duty is to pay it forward. Me, myself right now, and my fellow engineers, I see ourselves as we are the teachers for tomorrow's leaders. So we need to be mentors, we need to coach, we need to work and push the companies that we work for to have apprenticeships, internships, and have partnerships with universities, partnerships with communities, as a way of really investing and giving back all this knowledge and wealth that we've gained and attained over the years, and sharing and growing and making sure that we are serving and building the best communities and societies for future generations. We need to have thought leadership, and by that I mean we need to be able, as engineers, we need to be able to not only design and activate and say, okay, this is done. We need to optimize our designs. We need to optimize our objectives, and by that we'll be able to execute them and monitor the progress. Do they work? Lessons learned. And everything that we do within our work, we need to have the communities and the end users as the nucleus of our designs, because they're the ones who are going to be using whatever tools that we're giving to them. So we need them to really understand and design with them, not just design for them. And last but not least, we need to serve our society by really following the UN Sustainable Goals, all the way from climate change, gender equality, to help fighting poverty. We just need to be working with this in mind and making sure that our work really follows these principles. In terms of global challenges, there's a lot of global challenges at the moment out there for engineers, but the ones that are listed here are the ones that I think are impacting the industry that I work in today, and this is from my point of view. So the first one is no-brainer: climate change, improving energy efficiency. This is one that's a hot topic at the moment, and I think we've got to a point where we've done enough talking. We now need to put our words into actions and actually start moving towards changing our views and our goals towards climate change. We need to start looking at improving the way we use energy, whether it's at home, work environments, in our friendship groups. We need to start really talking more about what are we doing to help combat climate change and really improve the way we use resources. The next one that I think is a massive change is the skill and staff shortages. There's been so many papers and articles written about how there is a shortage of engineers, not just in the UK, but worldwide. And the best way to do this and to combat this challenge is we need to upskill, we need to inspire, and we need to drive for change. And a lot of change and decisions are made in the boardrooms, and we need to see that change trickle all the way from down to the top. So in the way we recruit, in the way we push people for promotions and in the way we really push people to do further education to enhance their skills. We also have a lack of female engineers, and this to me is a global challenge that's been going on for years and years and years. And we need to just change the status quo of what a female engineer is, or what a female's job should be like. And the biggest challenge we have is just retaining female engineers to stay in the industry, because a lot of female engineers change careers within the first 5 years of joining the industry. And we really need to look at why is that happening, and how can we reduce that, and how can we retain female engineers to stay in the industry. And last but not least, the last one that we have is technology. Engineering is all about innovation and really using the tools that we have. However, it takes a while for this sector to adapt to new technologies. And that might be because we've got a shortage of subject matter experts in who are specific in artificial intelligence or software architecture. So we just need to, as a community as a whole, we need to look at how we can actually work with this. And the reason I put technology here is it's linked to staff and skill shortages. So if we really adapt to technologies and we've got the people, there's nothing stopping us from upskilling those people and teaching them and training them to really move with the times and work with the technology world that we live in. So to just finish, the advice that I would give to my younger self is don't give up on your passion and don't give up on your dreams. However, once you get that dream job, work hard. You have to work hard. You need to seek opportunities that will make you not only a good engineer, but will help you leave a positive impact on the projects you work on. So to the audience, to the people listening, and to my colleagues, the one question I also leave with you, or the task or the homework, is for you to ask yourself, what is my purpose and what is the end goal? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Farai. I think I'm due to follow on from your amazing session. So my name's Liz Johnson. I work for CBRE and I'm an account director in their facilities management division. So first of all, I want to say, like Farai, thank you so much for the invite. I am truly honoured to be here today, talking to such a group of inspirational future engineers and future leaders. And I'm going to be honest by saying I feel like an absolute imposter, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to present anything. I'm just going to talk to you via the screen. So to me, an engineer is someone who invents, designs, builds, maintains something like a structure or a system or an asset. And it's generally someone who has a degree or a really good qualification in that subject matter. And I don't have any of those. So I don't have a degree of engineering. My degree is in complementary medicine and health sciences. And I don't invent or design anything. So that's why I feel like a bit like an imposter. However, when I started to do my research into the conference, I looked at different areas that engineers and scientists sort of fit in, and my terms of reference changed because I suddenly became a bit more aware of how many different areas engineering sort of touches and fits into our society. So life lesson number one is really do your research, and that's exactly what I did today. So why did I decide on an engineering career and what influenced my choice? I didn't really decide on an engineering career. I sort of fell into engineering. I've absolutely no formal qualification or training, unless crawling under the floorboards at the age of 10 with your dad doing a house rewire as training. That was my formal training. But I started as a graduate in a company called Alfred McAlpine, which was an old UK construction company. And I worked in different areas of their business. So I went in and worked 6 months in their utility division, understanding how gas, water and power mains were installed and maintained. I worked in some of their small project construction jobs. And then I worked at head office, understanding sort of environment, corporate responsibility, health and safety. And then McAlpines were taken over by a company called Carillion, which is probably a reference that most people will know. And I began managing some apprentice training centres as a regional manager, and those apprentice training centres were for young apprentices going through construction, such as bricklaying, joinery, painting, trying to get into the construction industry, which really opened my eyes to sort of, you know, supporting that younger sort of age bracket into the world of engineering and construction. And then I went on to work on a contract for BT Openreach, and BT Openreach contract, probably similar to one of your sponsors, CityFibre, was around the installation of copper and fibre to make your phones work and your broadband work, and the overhead lines that carry that copper and fibre network. So I was managing a region installing those. And then I joined CBRE and joined the world of facilities management. And this is where I am today. And I feel like now I've found my niche in the world because I absolutely love FM. And FM isn't just about maintaining pieces of kit that we have on site. So, you know, a generator or a fan call unit. It's not just about managing that or managing the engineers. It's a whole wide world of corporate strategies. It's managing portfolios of properties for a customer. It could be about procuring services to maintain those pieces of kit that you're managing. It's about keeping people safe. It's about keeping buildings legally compliant. It's about managing a budget. It's about managing profit and loss. It's about managing risk. And it's equally about engaging with our teams, whether that's a person in your team, whether that's your client, whether it's a group of people, and the list goes on. So every day, your role in FM is something different. You can talk about cleaning a toilet one day to fixing something that's wrong in a data center that is absolutely critical for the business of your client. And it ensures that we keep that environment that occupiers sit in safe and working well with technologies. And that's something that's becoming more and more apparent every day. So as an employee, you will probably look to go and work in a business that the office space has the right technologies, it's got the right sort of working environment, the right desk, the right working space, so that we maintain those working spaces and we design those working spaces so that it actually helps attract and retain employees into that business. So all of a sudden, engineering in FM doesn't just become about managing and designing or inventing something. It's about managing people and making sure their welfare and safety is absolutely paramount. So I guess along the way, like Farai was talking about, I've had a number of challenges and opportunities throughout my career. One of the main challenges is about not being technical. And because I'm not a technical person, it's about demonstrating that I have that knowledge or can have that knowledge. And I overcame that by spending a lot of time with people like Farai and people like our engineering team to go and understand, well, what does that fan call unit do and what does that generator do, and take me through that process. The other challenges for me has been around getting things wrong and admitting that you get things wrong. But the way that I would respond to getting things wrong is making sure that you learn from that mistake and you don't do it again, but you can sit there and go, okay, we've done this, something's happened, but I've now got a learning journey from that, so I don't do it again, and I can make sure I improve the way I handle it in the future. The other obvious challenge I think a lot of us will face is that we work in a male-dominated environment. I initially looked at that when I started my career, and I tried to blend into that sort of environment and try to adapt to, if you want, the male ways. Whereas now I sit there and go, no, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take that head on. I'm going to actually call it out. If I'm not comfortable in something, I will address that, and I'll suggest a different way of doing something. So it's a more inclusive way of doing something. And I guess the other challenge I've had is around managing different customers in different types of industries. So you have different personalities, but you also have different sort of businesses. So logistics, healthcare, retail, all those different sort of portfolios that you work with have different challenges and different critical needs. So I have a customer at the moment that we have a number of data centers in. With that becomes a lot of critical processes that we have to manage on a day-to-day basis. And that in itself is challenging because we have to make sure those data centers run 100% of the time without any downtime, because it would be catastrophic to that customer. I guess my other opportunities have been around actually that I am a female and showing that the industry that is a non-techie female, you can succeed in an engineering world and you can succeed in that engineering environment without the degree, because you can demonstrate, you can go and find the information a different way. And I think because of being a female and an account director in that industry, I've been asked a number of times to sort of sit on panel debates or to attend conferences like this to talk about my experience. And I talk a lot about to my mentees around, again, being female and the challenges and helping each other through that journey. And my profile gets used quite a little bit in CBRE because I am that female account director who's been through the journey. So that is a real opportunity for networking and profile building. So just going on to the other area of the questions we were looking at today was around how engineers can serve society and sort of the global challenges, and probably very similar to what Farai was talking around. One of the key ones for me is something that's quite obvious. It's the pandemic. Engineers can create labs for scientists to go and invent and develop vaccinations for COVID. Equally, an engineering team can go and look at how an air conditioning system can respond to reducing airflow to stop the transmission of that virus. So by doing that, we can act straight away in society about something that is happening now, and engineering and technology people can go and develop different processes for that. Equally, it's about addressing climate change, so water consumption, CO2 consumption. It's also creating data-driven technologies that can help minimise risk to humans. So whether it's the Internet of Things that will drive a technology change, or whether it's something about artificial intelligence and drone technology, I think that's a really good way that society can use that technology to help reduce risk on site and keep people's safety. The other one that I was looking at, I was watching it's Countryfile a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about technology and engineering in the future of farming, and how different technologies have been used in Holland to develop the polytunnels, and it reduces water consumption, energy consumption, reduces CO2 consumption, but it increases the yield of that particular product in the farming. I think it was salad and tomatoes and rocket, and Holland have been been leading that sort of change. The other thing was around the global challenges, and again, to me, it's about being innovative, it's been challenging the norm. But there's two other areas to me. One is about acting ethically. So I think a lot of companies now, you will see them acting in an ethical way in their corporate strategies, and they will be doing the right thing. So again, I was watching a programme on Panorama on Monday, which was about cobalt mining and the use of cobalt in the electronic car industry. And a lot of the cobalt in the world comes from Congo, and they were discussing how child labour, working conditions, pay conditions were really poor, and how a lot of the car industries need to get around and support that, and whether they are doing that or not. So to me, you've got to be acting in an ethical way. And also technology being used to improve safety and well-being. That's another challenge that I think has got to be driven forward. In terms of what advice would I give for my younger self on entering the profession? So always ask questions. Don't be scared to ask a question. If you're in a meeting or you're in a conference, I will guarantee most people in the room will be thinking the same question as you. So ask the question. There's nothing such a thing as a stupid question. Secondly, would be act with integrity. So think about the respect you want to gain from your team, your peers, your client, and act with integrity and honesty, because it will get you a long way. And last but not least, and I tell this a lot to my mentees, find your own authentic leadership style. So as you go through your career, you will develop your leadership style, and you will see other people's leadership style. Don't be bullied by others to use their style because it's right for them. It might not be right for you. So find the style that will help you sort of deliver what you want to deliver in the right way, and in the right sort of ethical or in integrity way, to make sure it's going to deliver what you want to deliver. And that's everything I was going to go and talk to today. So hopefully that either gives some questions or gives people some thought.
Yeah, we've got questions. Yeah, we've got questions. Thank you both, Liz and Farai. Really great talks. Heard some good themes coming through there. That in the previous sessions, the questions have been framed around. So thank you for doing that. I'm going to go to the questions in the chat. So Cassandra's got a question for you, Farai. Do you feel that your career within engineering has ever been impacted because you're a female? And if so, what did you do to overcome that?
So I don't think my career has ever been impacted because I'm a female, because I've always been able to approach my managers and the directors in my teams to really tell them I want to move to project, let's say I was working on a commercial project and I want to move to a healthcare project, really sit down with them and say, I'd really like to try work on a healthcare project because I've gained all the experience in commercial offices. I'd really like to know about how to work in a healthcare, how to do all the negative pressure, how the systems work, clean systems and all of that. So I've always been good at articulating that. However, I have faced microaggressions. I have faced I've received some backhanded comments because of probably say because I'm a female, but that has never stopped me. So I almost rise to those comments and challenge people and correct them when they do say demeaning and inappropriate comments to me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I know earlier this morning, Chi was talking about how exhausting that is though. So it is good to challenge, but you know, that sort of these microaggressions, although they're small, when they mount up, it just becomes completely exhausting. But thank you, Farai. Question for you, Liz. Have you ever been mentored, and how did that mentoring experience support you and help you navigate your career?
Yeah, so I have been mentored. I've had a couple of mentors in my career. I think lastly, my last mentor, she was a female MD within CBRE, and she sort of gave me a different viewpoint of what she saw from an MD and what her experience has been. And I think because she was a strong female leader, it helped give me some comfort, and it helped me give me an opportunity to sit in a if you want, a safe space to talk about what I was experiencing, how I could navigate my career, how I could navigate certain situations. So I think it was more of a, if you want, a safe space to talk about those shared experiences and what her way around that had been as well. And I would guarantee, you know, I think with mentoring, I would promote it if you can get a good mentor in your life, and it will change. You have to have one mentor, you know, for 6 months or 12 months. You can change that and have multiple, but find a mentor that's going to help you support what you need out of your career.
Yeah, and did you find your mentor, or was it just part of a scheme? Or
it was part of a scheme. So I was given a mentor, but they try and match your sort of personalities in terms of how you both work. So you do a bit of a quiz. And equally, when I've had mentees, it's worked the same way. We've almost had opposites. So where I am a bit more, if I've been quite engaging, and which I am with my team, and someone's a bit more process driven, we've matched together so that I can help them come out of the shell a bit and be more engaging. Naturally, they can help me be a bit more process minded.
Yeah. And we haven't got much time left, but Farai, have you got a mentor? Have you used a mentor before?
Yeah, so I actually have 3 mentors. So one is so the first mentor was from my graduate role, and even when I left Hillsong Moran to move to Arup, he stayed being my mentor. So he went from being a technical mentor, like Liz was saying, people really explaining to you how things work, being my technical guru, to being a career mentor on how I went from being a technical mentor to being a people management mentor. So he started coaching me on how to deal with people, how to deal with conflict, and how to approach people as I started to move to senior roles, and just be more understanding, and how he's managed to also go from being a graduate engineer to a technical director. And my other mentor, a lady who I used to work with at Arup, she became my mentor when I moved to Dubai. And for that was also how to adapt to cultural differences of working in the UK and living in the Middle East, to understand the language that they use there, to be able to navigate through meetings, and also how to progress my career and navigate through companies, move from sector, either it's from engineering to project management, to either even moving from project management to just going back to being a mentor and working with people. So that's what I've learned from my mentors.
Thank you, Farai. Thank you, Liz. It's been a great session again. Just a reminder to everyone, we've got a break now. So back at 12:30, don't forget to have a look at the sessions that are available, because you do have to select them. But thank you both, and thank you to CBRE as well for their support.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.